I begin with a big welcome to all of you for taking the time out in your day for this HEM webinar on back to school marketing prep strategies for a successful year. It's timing, we've timed this intentionally because you might be just getting ready to start something that would attract folks if depending on your cycle, your starts, and all those aspects of intern times. To keep in mind, though, that a lot of the content we're going to cover here is going to be useful for you year-round. So it's not just a campaign now that gets you populated in September or October. It's going to be the kinds of things you'll be able to use throughout. So hopefully you find that as well. If you're not familiar with HEM, we are an online marketing agency. We're a digital marketing company that focuses on working in the education sector. We're called HEM, Education Marketing Solutions. We're in our 15th year of providing digital marketing for schools because we understand and realize that the e-marketplace, e-commerce, as a whole is completely different in the education space. To attract, engage, get someone to apply, enroll, and begin as a student is a completely different force and program in education than it is in any other e-commerce marketplace. So that's what we specialize in. All these services you see, we really can integrate into your campaigns. We also operate in an a la carte fashion that maybe you just need help outsourcing one or two of these. But each of these points we've been working on for 15 years in helping schools gain more enrollments. That's really what we focus on, and using your online presence, your school's online presence, to do so. I'm Scott Cross, Regional Manager with North America, so I'd be your initial outreach if you have any questions during or after the webinar. During the webinar, I'm going to have your microphones muted so you can drop your questions into the Q&A prompt in the Zoom meeting bar, in that taskbar. Please drop in Q&A during the course of the webinar. That way, at the end of the webinar, when I open it up, I'll have lots of questions waiting, and I'll begin to answer your questions at that time. So appreciate that. It's also important to note you will receive a recording of this webinar. You will receive the deck of the webinar as well in email in the next day or two, like Friday or Monday. So you will receive a recording of this, and you'll have access to the deck as well. And it's going to include each one of these things. We're going to talk about understanding the marketing landscape currently, those essential marketing strategies for your school year. We're going to get into then marketing prep made easy, and then finally some tips on creating visually appealing materials. And between all those, we actually cover a whole lot of turf here. So hopefully you'll find it helpful. And we'll begin by looking at our marketing landscape for 2024 and back to school. Some of these things will really take you, and others you say, yep, that's indeed true. It's no surprise, the first couple especially, the rise of personalized marketing, the expectations of your current audience. 80% of them expect a personalized experience to some degree. With that, schools are investing far more in video marketing, in virtual campus tours, in student testimonials, and live streaming events. In addition to everything else you may do, these are critically important because they especially seem to the user, to your audience, more personalized. It's not just an ad trying to engage them. It's not just a post trying to engage them. These are the types of events listed on the right that feel like you're speaking to them. And in many cases you are, and in many cases you can engage directly with them. So you're going to want to work to fold these in to any campaigns you want to do. And you're going to want to make sure that video especially is a part of what you do. In 2024 alone, this year, 82% of all internet traffic is going to involve videos. And we'll talk about short-term videos, just the short form videos that are going to be most effective for you. We recommend that you utilize any AI and data analytics to research and create for this, because this can be done on the fly, willy-nilly, as it were. We recommend you actually do it more thoughtfully than that. You can use your iPhone to create some of these short form videos, but we recommend that you look at your data analytics and see what topics people are engaging in through your social media. What kinds of posts are getting the most engagement? What questions do you get the most? And in your AI, that can help you outline a video, for example. We recommend you do the research using AI. We recommend you write the video content or write any piece yourself, because AI is a great research tool, but we would, and it's a different topic for a different webinar, we recommend that you be the actual writer, and they can maybe help refine your messaging. But it's important that you, who know the school and understand your actual school's value in the marketplace and to these students, that you make that statement yourself. Utilizing social media is required, really, at this point. Gen Z is using social platforms to do their searches more than they're using any search platforms. So you know that it's important for your school to be visible then in the results of that search. You're going to have your most engaging audiences there, your most interactive engagements for sure. And look for things above and beyond the videos, any influencer partnerships, user-generated content. And when it comes to influencer partnerships, our brief recommendation is don't pay for a big name. Make your alumni your influencers. That is your best, if most effective and most efficient tool. It's going to cost you less, and it's going to give you more of a return. When it comes to including marketing automation tools, that's a real need, and it's a super big help when it comes to a small staff trying to create a campaign at all, right? So we're going to list how many places and things you need to put together into a campaign. And we understand that you're a team of one, maybe 1.5, maybe 2 people in some cases. And it's important to bring in a marketing automation tool like a CRM or like a Hootsuite that might help you with scheduling. Those types of tools really help make this type of a project more manageable and more productive for you. If you've attended our webinars in the past, you know we like to ask you questions. The first question, a poll for you, the audience, want to know what you think on how to complete this. Companies using marketing automation see what % increase in sales productivity? I'm going to go ahead and launch the poll. This is anonymous, so we don't know who you are as you vote. Just tell us what you think. Do you think they're seeing a almost 7% increase, a 14% increase, or a 43 to 44% increase in productivity when using marketing automation like a CRM or a Hootsuite, really any kind of an online system that's going to help you boost there? Wow. Okay, we could take one more. I get one more person to vote because right now we have a tie. I guess we're not going to break that tie. That's okay. We have a tie for B and C. The correct answer is B, 14.5. In putting this together, we were quite, I think, kind of leaning toward, well, it could be 43, right? People would think that. So I don't blame you, because that's kind of where my mind went. But then I really went and thought about it after I knew that it was 14, and I thought 14 is a sizable increase. Like, that's a big number to make double-digit increase, right? In your case, not sales, but enrollment. So that's what we're looking for here. So if you don't already have any kind of a automation piece in motion, please do research it. Happy to help talk to you about that. So let's talk about some of the first aspects that we consider upon building a back-to-school type of campaign. We're talking about adapting to changing student behaviors and expectations, one of which may be more topical than anything. They're increasingly concerned with ethical issues and social responsibility. So your incoming student body has a lot of points that that rank high in importance for them. So if you at your school and through your school and in how you approach school life every day, every week, every term, if you approach things like ethical issues and social responsibility, share that, because that's really going to resonate with the audience you're trying to engage. Make sure that both mobile and desktop and tablet platforms are tested for everything you do. We begin adding ads and landing pages on mobile first, and then we make sure that it's tablet and desktop efficient as well. And just keep in mind, and I'm sure you would just be nodding when we say students are more demanding today for flexible learning options. And toward this, I guess what I'd like to say is many of us still have hybrid, still have online options. And many of us at schools don't necessarily feel that's a differentiation point, right? It's just whatever everyone else does. It's still important to say it, because you don't want prospective students to have to find that about you. They shouldn't have to search for that. Granted, others might have this as well, but you want to make sure that they know that you have these options. So don't consider that as an assumption. Don't consider that they already know this. And when it comes to kind of thinking bigger picture, we're getting closer and closer to actually planning the campaign. You want to begin research if you haven't done so yourself. And in your market research, look at your competitors, look at what they're doing. What is their content? What keywords do they focus on? And what audiences does it look like their ads are focusing on? So, do a lot of research in terms of your competition. And you can also do that within your own Google Analytics to see how you're playing within the marketplace in terms of your audience and geographically where they're from. Understand the digital behavior of your target audience. Some of them are in Gen Z, others are, full adults. So again, this is something you may have taken for granted a couple of years ago when you started working on things for marketing the school online. Revisit that and really, talk to your current students and ask them, what are they doing? Where are they online? Where do they get their information? Where do they do their shopping, their searching? It's very worthwhile part of your research. Again, we're talking about using marketing automation platforms to gather data. So when you're thinking, for example, a CRM, go to reports in your CRM. There are great reports that can help you understand which online platforms are delivering the most leads and which of those leads are delivering the most students. So you want to look at any reports that you can that help you recognize those data points, and run integrated marketing campaigns across multiple channels. When you think of, should we be on Instagram? Should we be on LinkedIn? Should we be on Facebook? Should we be on TikTok? 5 years ago, we would have said, choose your top 2, maybe 3 that are driving the most traffic and the most conversions on your website. Today, we're going to say, get as involved as you can in as many channels as you can, considering the time and assets you have to offer, right? It's just clear that today's prospective student is in multiple channels looking for you, looking for information about you and your school. So being somewhere where you're not sure there should be traffic or would be traffic, there likely is. And again, go to your Google Analytics and see how it's driving traffic. The more you utilize it, the more it will drive traffic. So let's get into considering the essential strategies for marketing in the successful school year. The first thing you want to do is look backwards. Examine the performance of your previous marketing campaigns and identify the key metrics that are most important to you. These are kind of the top ones for us, but you may have different thoughts and ideas. Conversion rates simply mean someone filled out the form, whether it's on your website or on a landing page or somewhere in social media. They filled out a form and raised their hand and basically said, tell me more. Contact me somehow and I'd like to learn more. Whereas click-through rates are someone who clicked on an ad, clicked on a post to go to your website. So that's a critical one, expressing their interaction and interest. And just engagement metrics are also really helpful. That would be, really beyond a like, but a comment and a share. Those are the more powerful ones. And ultimately, you want to go to ROI, which is going to get you kind of back to conversion metrics and conversion rates. How many of those who expressed interest actually became students? And therefore, you can kind of understand, you can very clearly understand if your work in advertising paid off and delivered students in which channels and to what degree. So you want to identify what worked and compile that list of best practices and keep an eye on that to see if there are any trends, as well trends with what's not working. And if there's any consistency there, you want to document those challenges and pitfalls so that you know either how to try again and try something different, or really not spend time there. Over time, you may want to just focus on what's working for you. You want to set goals, and we recommend, if you haven't already, to make your goals what are called SMART goals. They're specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So you're setting a goal that is all of those things, and we're going to go back to the conversion metrics on the right there, that you want a number for each of those points based on your past data. How do you want these to increase, your conversion rates, your engagement rates, and your ROI specifically? So setting goals is crazy important. And when it comes to setting goals, we feel it's critical that your digital marketing campaign, your ad campaign, be driven by the school's overall goals that it is requiring of your marketing, communications / admissions / recruiting, whatever department you're representing. What goals are you reporting to and reporting out monthly or quarterly that determine whether you're doing well or not? Make sure your campaigns, your ad campaigns, drive that. For example, if your marketing goal for the marketing department is to increase enrollment by 15% next year. So and others around the school may share in that, but you are to contribute toward that. Of course, you want to align your work and what the campaign says. You want to align it with the institution's mission. And ultimately, number 3, you want to make sure that that metric you're tracking is going to tie right back to point number 1. So it's going to be, of all those metrics we've talked about so far, conversions is going to be your number 1 metric driving whether you're contributing to this, because conversions mean leads of interested, qualified students, hopefully, and ultimately would lead to admissions. So we get into the parts of the campaign where you're now building, you're creating engaging content. And this is more for the earlier stages, and we're going to walk through the different stages in a minute. But when it comes to speaking on behalf of your school, you want social media campaigns that are going to drive awareness, visibility, and interest based on what you offer. And these are going to be, totally connected with the demographics of the audiences you're targeting and understanding your personas, your target audiences. You're going to want to be as visually appealing, interactive as you can be. Videos and infographics and polls are going to go a long way to engage your audience. So look for ways that you can really utilize that. And social media is, it's a perfect platform across multiple types, multiple channels, but it's a perfect platform to say your piece, because you're going to be putting yourself in front of people who align with your target audience, who you're trying to attract in that regard. So these are the first places you're going to want to go in basically just speaking of the school, right? And making sure you're visible, people are aware of you. And it's after that point that you're going to shift into the next gear of a Google search type of campaign, which is going to be focused more directly on lead generation. We say Google search because that is going to put you in front of an audience with high intent. This is going to be an ad that appears when someone types in a search on the left about a program, the type of program that you offer. And there's no better audience to be in front of than one who's actually in the process of searching and researching programs like yours. When they click on your ad, we want to take them to the screen on the right, which is a dedicated landing page. And the unique element of dedicated landing pages is that it is not just a page in your website. It is a standalone page that's assigned only to this ad traffic. So it's speaking program specific to the user and to the ad campaign you just put out. So it's program specific, and it's also just enough information to get them more interested. It's a single page. There's no URL. There are no menu bars or hyperlinks that people can click on. It's a standalone page with just that information on it. And the one action they can take is fill out a form to learn more. Click here to request more info. And that is the lead generation. That is the conversion that you're seeking. So you're starting with the awareness campaign, you're following with the lead gen campaign. And while social media can also be a lead gen vehicle for you, typically Google search is going to provide you higher quality leads, period. Email marketing is not dead. You may wonder about its efficacy. What we have found in the schools we serve is it's remarkably effective in engaging people to apply. So send out emails to those folks who have filled out the form and said, tell me more. You want to call them, you want to text them, whichever way you're best going to engage with them, and calls are critical. So don't give up calls. But we're also saying, in terms of part of your digital campaign, make sure an email follow-up campaign, a drip campaign, is part of it so that you can engage with them. Gen Z especially, we've found, is very good at curating their inbox. So they really try to be very selective in who they sign up for in terms of emails and e-newsletters, so that what they receive is of value to them. And so the more relevant, first of all, you've cleared that hurdle if you're in their inbox. Second of all, if your emails can be relevant and unique, so email 3 is very different from email 2, just with new and different information, and also include those calls to action and ability for that prospect to engage with you, to click, whether to set up a meeting or to apply, however it may be. So that's kind of the advertising play through. We're going to go through the timeline in a minute, but in terms of the overall strategy, we now want to shift into the SEO and content marketing part of what you're going to be communicating. And again, we're going to do a little planning first. We're going to look at tools like Google Ads, Keyword Planner, and Google Search Console, because both of those tools, Google Ads, Keyword Planner, and Google Search Console, are going to allow you to, first of all, see what keywords are engaging most traffic to your website, for example. You can also see in Google Ads which keywords are generating the most clicks and maybe conversions as well. And it's through these tools then you can drop in those top performing keywords or keyword phrases, and it will suggest more and others that could be helpful for you as well. So this is, especially in content marketing, you want to understand what are the words and phrases above and beyond the names of our course and the keywords that we attach to our school. What are the keywords that are getting the most hits in the marketplace today? That's a really important measure. You're going to want to put that in your content and in your metadata of your content. To make this any easier, because we're piling on, don't forget to do this and also do that. We get that. But we also want to help make it easier for you. And a content calendar is super easy. You can build it just like this in a Google spreadsheet. And what it does is it holds you to a schedule, so a publishing date. It commits you to a title. It allows you to kind of write out, what's the blog summary going to be? What's the summary of what we're going to be saying? And tell me more about the target audience specifically. Maybe this is reaching out to a specific niche of your target audience. You can list keywords, specific keywords that you want this to be engaging in. And you can even identify the URLs within your website that you want to cross-connect folks to. So this is a very helpful planner to help you kind of spell it all out and be very strategic about what you do, as opposed to just, we're going to post one blog a week, one blog a month. You can say that, you can do that, but when you plan it out like this, you're really adding the intent to it and you're putting the research to work, the research of keywords that we've just done. And then in leveraging that automated tool, the customer relationship management tool, like CRM, we have one that's called Mautic. It's going to help you to monitor your campaign performance, especially in any of the campaigns that have click-throughs, right, that are going to lead to conversions. What your CRM is going to be able to tell you in the reports is Facebook driving a lot of leads? Is Meta driving more leads? Are the paid efforts in both of those driving more leads? And then, you kind of want to understand then through the CRM, did those leads become applicants? Did they become students? And that's where you're really able to drill down in a CRM's reports that are going to get you to the ROI number. It's through CRM reports that will help you understand that ROI number. And leveraging technology, a great example is through a chatbot. AI provides great chatbots that basically will read through your entire website's content and answer questions based on what's in your website. So that if someone comes in with a few simple questions, just because they haven't read every page yet, the AI chatbot can answer automatically for you. So you have this tool that's engaging with the prospect without you lifting a finger. So that's a great option for you. We also recommend that you utilize the lead generation part of this tool. So before they begin to chat, we recommend that you ask them for a unique identifier. And that could be, quick zip. It could be a phone number. It could be an email address. Just ask for one thing. Make it simple so that they're willing to say, yeah, my name is Scott and here's my email address. Now here's my question. Again, you're utilizing the lead generation possibilities that exist in something like a chatbot. Okay, it's poll number 2 time. And this one's a little, maybe you have to think hard on this, maybe you don't. I want to know your biggest challenge when preparing either a new school year's marketing campaigns or really any marketing campaigns. Is your top challenge developing the content calendar? Is it gathering the marketing assets? Is it engaging prospective students? Is it measuring and analyzing performance? Oh, the votes are coming in. You guys are great. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. And it's different everywhere, right? So what we find these polls are helpful in doing is having us, HEM, understand kind of where you're at and what you need. But it also helps, I think it helps you to see what are others like me also, challenged by. And it looks like B and C are your most challenging aspects. And this morning's webinar really showed a lot of the same, a lot of C, engaging prospective students. But gathering those new assets it takes work, right? So we're going to talk actually about both of those things as we continue on. So thank you for your engagement in that. We appreciate it. Let's talk about marketing prep made easy. Again, I want to talk about the content calendar in 2 things. So we saw how it can be, addressed and really kind of documenting everything you're trying to do. Notice on this one, it includes an Instagram reel. You can include your social posts in here as well. In fact, if you have the time, we recommend you do. Again, it helps you to maybe focus on one topic in one week and a second topic in another week, or however you want to mix it up. It allows you to track, when's the last time we talked about that aspect of what this school really delivers? Oh, it's been a few weeks, so let's go there. Or maybe we just talked about it last Friday. Okay, I thought so. So we don't have to bring that back up. The other thing we were talking about is how this is a great reporting up vehicle, because not only does it help you monitor yourself and just have everything documented so you're able to do your work efficiently and effectively and in a timely manner, But you can also show this to your managers, to your team, and it's not just in reporting up, but also talking with them. This is what we've been doing the past 4 weeks, or this is what we're planning to do the next 4 weeks. What do you think? And if you want to engage that conversation, you have a quite complete spreadsheet here that's going to list those aspects. So it's going to help you in many, many ways. No question you want to promote your events. And while your events have probably been on the school calendar for months, if not longer, and you want it publicized maybe sooner than just 4 weeks, right? So you want to invite people maybe sooner than that in other ways and fashions. When it comes to building a campaign that's actually going to promote the event to your target audience, consider it about a 4-week campaign, a 3 to 4 week campaign. So you've got those who have already planned on it far in advance. You now want to reach out to those who may not know you or see you yet. And you want to get ads, and you want to take your best performing organic posts and boost them in social media. So you put some money behind them to reach folks on social who aren't yet your community, but they match up with the demographics and likes and interests of your existing community. So that's exactly how you want to promote those. The other smart way of utilizing social in this regard is that, and I'll just use Facebook as an example, to create a Facebook event makes it very easy for you to accept people who are coming or who might come. It also makes it very easy for those in your audience to share that event with someone else. So keep that in mind, that the shareability of a social event using a social media platform is much higher than using anything else. So let's talk about gathering new assets, because you brought that up just recently. Again, we recommend you basically put it in your calendar. And by that, put it in your budget. So there are two pieces here. So what this first point here is schedule photo and video shoots once per quarter. So I don't know if you're going to need to do that with a paid photographer or videographer once per quarter, but it should be in your personal calendar that's part of what you're going to do during that week, for example. And so, get your phone out and catch your photos, catch your videos. Of course, you're doing this on the fly as you walk around campus anyway, right? But it's really important to make sure you set that aside to just ensure that you're capturing new aspects. When it comes to actually, funding for this, I would say every 1 or 2 years, put aside any budget allocation you can to hire a professional photographer, because in your ads and in your website, those professional images are going to go a long way, and they're much crisper and more engaging and drawing of engagement than anything you can get on your iPhone. So keep that in mind as well. You can also encourage your students to submit photos, your faculty, get them involved. You also want to go through your existing catalog of everything and see what you want to toss out or put in the recycle folder. Typically, I'm not one to delete anything like that. So I would just create a recycle folder for this year, for 2021. I don't need to see any more of that. It's a whole lot of masks, right? So we're going to put those in the recycle bin for 2021, not literally recycled in my computer, but just in a hold bin or folder. So we're not going to use it today, but we have it to turn back to if we want to. And that goes toward updating your overall marketing materials. Go through what you have, what's in your arsenal, what's in your toolbox, and what's outdated. Whether it's just its core use. Do you need that printed brochure anymore? Or do you want to change its format to something smaller and a little more agile? Or do you want more elements to be digital and fewer to be paper-based? All those kinds of decisions are important when you kind of enter a new school year. This is a perfect time of year to have those sessions where you're kind of going through and taking stock of what you have. And in cases where it's digital, you can actually see what are the ROI metrics I can look up to see how often that was used, that digital aspect was used. Okay, so now I am going to take another sip of water because we're getting into a fun part. and we'll finish up in about the next 10 minutes. But this is where it gets kind of nitty gritty. So as specific as we get here, and we're going to get kind of specific, I want to add the qualifier that this is just an idea. This is just a sample outline. We're not saying you need to be a 5-week campaign or a 7-week campaign, and this is what you have to do. This is just an example. It is based on the input from our SEO and content teams and from our ads team. So with that regard, this is what we're doing and kind of the format we're following with the schools we serve. We wanted to share it with you. So when it comes to inbound content in that first week of your campaign, let's say it were August 1st. Again, that's hypothetical. Consider social media posts that are really just teasers, right? Just saying, hey, it's time to start thinking school again. And, think about when you were a prospective student, when you first saw those images online and on TV, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, it's already back to school time. That's exactly what you're doing, is really just kind of telling the brain to switch that gear back on again. And talk about your school in a longer form way in the blogs about why you want to be excited for the year to come. What's great about going to school. As you get into the second week, you're talking more about their interest. Now that we've switched that gear into motion, talk to them about student testimonials, success stories, any point of views from your instructors, day in the life of a student, spotlight on a new program. This is where you're getting a little more into what you have to offer, and you want to get them a little more interested in that. And in the third week, you can begin to go into the values and benefits of your school over your competitors. So any behind the scenes video of the campus getting ready, or of campus life, or a virtual tour. You've got a lot of ideas here in terms of the kinds of things you can blog about and why, continuing your education, this is the right time, and this is why the marketplace finds this useful, whether it's the marketplace for education or for job search. So you can go into a lot of different places there. And it's at this point, you're going to get into that week 4 final push, where you're sharing final reminders about deadlines, again, student testimonials and countdowns to really, you kind of want to ramp up the sense of urgency at this point and get them talking about, enrolling for a new term, success stories from recent graduates. And don't forget to continue that campaign just another week or two to really celebrate the new incoming students. First of all, it's huge for the new and incoming students because they're still paying attention to you on social. They've decided to join the team, right? They're in your classrooms. Celebrate them and literally, talk to them about what they're excited about doing, and really capture that first week excitement and share it with everyone else, because you also want to put it in front of folks who chose not to, maybe not to go back to school this year or to go to school somewhere else. And they're probably still following you too. And you still have an opportunity to stay in their mind as they're considering, did I make the right decision? Is this the right place? So keep that celebration mode rolling at the end of your campaign. And when it comes to ads, we really break it down into one sheet here, where we're looking at weeks 1 through 3 and weeks 4 through 6. And let's consider week 7, it begins. Again, completely hypothetical in terms of timing, though this is basically if you're doing a one-off campaign to really boost awareness and student enrollment, student recruitment. Begin with awareness and visibility in weeks 1 through 3. You're looking for display campaigns, for boosted posts, demographic and interest focused. In weeks 4 through 6, you're shooting more for Google search ads that are generating lead generation of the higher quality. You can also shift your meta ads into remarketing and lead generation mode as well. But see how you're setting up the messaging, and then you're going for the capture. Work with this timeline as it feels right for you. You may want to start lead generation sooner, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You may start it from week 1, but to give you an idea of how we would spell it out, this should give you some idea in that regard. Okay, so let's give you some of the final checks and thoughts. The first is in a branding checklist. Recommend you make sure you have a set of brand guidelines, a style guide, if you will. So, we can say colors, fonts, logos, imagery styles, and also consider what are the keywords and phrases we use to describe our school, and what are the keywords and phrases we don't want to use to describe our school. It's really important. You can create templates for the common materials, whether it's a PDF or a social post or like a PowerPoint type presentation, Google Slides. That way, when people come rushing in your office for, I need one of these as soon as possible, it's much easier just to take their new content and drop it in your existing template. I know it takes more than doing just that, but it makes the process a lot simpler. Invest in the high quality professional photos, as we've talked about. Your phone gets a lot of great stuff, but try to set aside money every once in a while for the professional shoot. And include a diverse range of images. A lot of times the school, just in its normal operations, will focus and speak of a lot of the same programs year after year, and the same events, the same clubs, the same award-winning team that does this, debate team, robotics team, etc. Look for every other group as well, and make sure and content there, right? And there are a lot of other songs to sing in this song list, so make sure you go through there. As part of your style guide, make a layout guide in terms of how we want things to lay out, keeping in mind white space, keeping in mind hierarchy and structure of the points you want to make. What's point number 1? That's my biggest headline. Point number 2 is my subhead. Point number 3 is bullet points. Do you want to ever use anything other than bullet points? Do you want to use sentences and paragraphs? That's your choice, but it's so much easier to have that predetermined, so you just take it and you roll with it. And when it comes to accessibility, you want to ensure that your materials are accessible to all users, including those with disabilities. You want alt text for your images, you provide transcripts for your videos, choose accessible color combinations and fonts. So it's really important to make sure that that's part of your considerations as well as making your content accessible across mobile, tablet, desktop. Wherever it's going to be seen, you want it to be visible and clickable. And clickable is the big one there in terms of making sure that the size of the button on the website, you need to make it bigger on the mobile so it can fit a fingertip. Key takeaways. I'm going to kind of let these speak for themselves as you read through them, and I'll say a couple things. First of all, this presentation will come in video to your inbox tomorrow or Monday. So you'll get a video of this webinar in your email tomorrow or Monday, along with the deck. So you'll get that. So don't worry about that. The other point, don't forget to ask your questions if you haven't already. I'm about to go to the Q&A place. I see there's one question so far. We want to make sure you understand, we can, I know you want to do a lot of this yourself. It's also important when you lay stuff out that you realize, where can we outsource some of this? As a director of marketing and communications, that was part of my task and charge, was basically to lay out a comprehensive plan, see what I could pull off myself, and then determine what I wanted to outsource. I don't want to give up and cut my plan in half just because I can't do it myself, because you need to be as competitive as you can in your marketplace. Let us know where we can help here at HEM. That's what we're all about. And again, I'm your contact in Canada and the US and Mexico, wherever you're from. So thanks for joining us in this North American version of our webinar. Okay, question time. Dalal asks, for private elementary and secondary schools, should we be targeting parents or students? Example, when creating content, keywords, etc., who should we mainly target? Great initial question. The answer is both. As you're thinking in terms of elementary schools, you're going to be targeting primarily parents, maybe 90-10, 90% parents. You know, grades 4, 5, and 6, they have phones, they're online, so they're looking, and they're looking to see primarily what's that school like, and am I going to like it? Am I going to fit in? When it comes to targeting parents of the younger students, that's going to be, you know, your primary place to talk about the experience for your child and getting them prepared for upper school, high school, and that will pertain to keywords, that will pertain to content. When it comes to secondary schools, you want to talk to them both. And the way, you know, I like to simplify it is the content maybe on Facebook and the content in your website. That's basically the grown-ups at the school talking about the school. So that's going to be parent facing. The rest of your content via whether it's Instagram, YouTube Shorts, wherever it may be, that's basically the student voice. And your prospective students know better. They know that adults post this stuff on Instagram, et cetera, but you want it to have that feel that it's going to be more attractive and relatable, really more relatable than anything else to the prospective student. And that's where user-generated content comes in so well, that you're going to have a lot of user-generated content that goes in the platforms and the channels where the students are going to be looking for this stuff and looking to, you know, research and understand, am I going to enjoy being a student there? Am I going to be challenged as a student there? All that. Question from Claudia, do we also help agents? We do. So Claudia, feel free to shoot me an email and ask me more about that. Anna's just happy that there was good information in the webinar. These are interesting, so I'll just wrap up because we're kind of out of questions here. Interesting because we know there's a variety of you here tuned in. Some of you are more advanced in your work and you're looking at this saying, kind of going through a checklist like, yeah, we do that, yeah, we do that, yeah, we do that, which is great. That's helpful. I hope that was useful for you. Some of you are at the very kind of other end of the spectrum where you just kind of head down and, oh, I got to get work done here. I got a lot to do. And then others of you are in the middle. We try to make the content to be relevant to all of you, and for all of you, it's not an easy task. Hopefully you found it useful. Keep in mind, me and our team here at HEM, we're super resources for you. We're happy to answer your questions, and sure, we'd love to work with you, but we'd also be happy just to have a call and a chat and answer some questions right off the bat. Well, so if we can help you in that regard, please tune us in, and then we can offer that free assessment of your next campaign. Of course, that's always available. So thank you for your time. We appreciate it. Hope you have a great rest of the afternoon.